Mo Salah is not having his best season ever. Liverpool are definitely not having their best season ever. But are the two things intrinsically linked? Probably yes. Jurgen Klopp says so as well. And we can see that Salah is not having his best season because the data shows it. These are goals in blue, expected goals in red. Blue is good, red is bad. You can see very good last season halfway through it, then African Nations happens and boom, a big slump, which he's not really come out of. But everything is down, not just goals and expected goals, all that sort of stuff. He's attempting to dribble less, he's completing his dribbles less, and he's having fewer shots on goal. He's not quite the same player. And it might be because he's had to change position a little bit. And you can see he's receiving the ball in different positions. He wants to be in these central areas, but the dark red means he's receiving it far less in his favourite position on the whole pitch. He's getting it slightly more deeper in his own half, slightly more in these sorts of deeper areas here. So why would you change Salah's position if he's your best player and scores all your goals? Well, there's many, many reasons. Let's try and do them now. Let's go through all of them, right? So first of all, every team needs to evolve to be able to stop being found out by opposition teams and managers. Liverpool have been found out. Like, we all know how they play. We know how they play. And how they play is that they play a 4-3-3. The central forward drops into this position here to help link up with the midfield. Then that allows the wide forwards to go through more central positions. So you get like Nunez would be like a striker basically, Salah a striker, that's what you get. And that counter movement is very useful because as Gakpo, who would be in this position now, would drop in, he might drag a defender with him, which of course then leaves a bit of space in behind for Salah to get in. Then they can get the ball to him and he can try and score from central positions. That's what he wants to do, because that's what Salah wants to do, is attack central spaces from a wide area. That's where he's best. He's best 1v1 or just getting into space in these sorts of positions here. So the difference now is that Nunez wants to run in behind, not drop deep to link play. That's not his game. So Nunez running in behind has a different effect on defenders because rather than them coming out to deal with him, they then try and stay a bit more level with him because they're scared of his pace in behind. If it's a high line, they're worried he can get in behind, so they drop ever deeper to stay with Nunez. That, in theory, should create more space between the midfield and the defence for Salah and Diaz or whoever's playing left to get into these positions, but these are more supportive positions. So rather than getting in behind the forward or attacking midfielder basically to get into the goal, Salah is now playing more of a kind of supportive role. And it would work if you can throw the ball into someone like Nunez to get in behind, like that. That might be a goal if he scores with chances, but it changes the dynamic of the attack. Salah is no longer the focus. The focus really is Nunez. So that's another big change you've got in there. Then you've got the cohesion that you get with knowing your teammates. So if Salah is in this position here and receives the ball, he knows that Firmino's going to be there. He knows he can make that sort of run. He knows Alexander-Arnold might come over like this, or he might have a supporting run from midfielder. It's all changed. Because while Nunez has been here, you've had injuries all over the place. Like Diaz has been injured for most of the season. Carvalho has been in and out of form and injury. Jones injured a lot of the time. Jota can play here, or he can play to the middle. Also injured for a lot of the seasons, come back in. Harvey Elliott's come in to try and play in midfield. He's a bit weaker in defence than Henderson, so it changes the way you defend that way. We'll come to that in a second. And then the other option they've got is Firmino, who they're trying to phase out of the team because they want to evolve the way they play. And then you've got Cody Gakpo who's come in. So when Gakpo plays, it's sort of changed a little bit and it's moved Nunez over to this left side. We're starting to see a little bit more of Gakpo dropping in to allow Salah and Nunez to get in behind. But all of these changes mean there's a lack of chemistry that you used to have for all the same sort of players. It also means that they don't press as well. And this is the most interesting thing of all to me. Now, John McKenzie has a video on pressing, on Liverpool's pressing specifically, on our channel, Tifo IRL. Please subscribe, do subscribe now, do that now. And then watch John's video after this. It's interesting. Because the way they press is very different. Liverpool are allowing far more attacks. Their PPDA is well down, so well, it's well up, because the lower the number, the better, but their PPDA is up, which is bad. Teams are getting past their press because the individuals aren't as good at doing it, they're not as cohesive. Now, Salah would get a lot of the ball in these positions here because Liverpool would win the ball high up the pitch, really intense, say the team's trying to build out. They're really good at defending up from the front. Henderson might come over, everyone's pushing up really high and tight. They win the ball back, then Salah's in position to be able to link with players and get in. The link player's not there anymore, the press isn't there at the moment, so they can't win the ball back for where Salah wants it to be. And actually, what you're getting instead is that teams are getting past Liverpool and they're attacking and focusing on this right-hand side of the pitch, the one where our pal Alexander-Arnold is. So they're always focusing on this area. Now, because they're getting past this, it means that Alexander-Arnold needs more protection back here. Teams will get 1v1 with Alexander-Arnold. Then you might get Alexander-Arnold trying to protect him by having Henderson go out, which creates a space in between the midfielders for someone else to take advantage of. And so what you get instead is teams try and double up with this wide area. A fullback will go because they know Salah won't mostly follow, because Salah wants to stay here so that if there's a counter-attack, he is in the right position for a transition to be able to then link the play and get into the box, as he wants to be able to do. So when teams push forward, they might double up on Alexander-Arnold over here. Another player might join in, so you get 3v2 or maybe a 4. Loads of players do this. Maybe the 4 runs through the gap that is created. But then to help out, to try and deal with this overload, he'll come back in, which then of course means that he is not there to be able to get in position when they win the ball. So when they do try and break, they've only got one player up top, maybe a forward like Gakpo or something like that. It's not the same. Then he's got to get up here, which is further away from the goal he wants to be at. He's closer to his own goal than this goal. That is bad. Another reason he's getting weird touches and not getting the ball high up the pitch is because the way Liverpool build is different, and it's to do with this press not working. What used to happen is that Robertson would be really high and wide here from a goal kick, Alexander-Arnold would be really high and wide here from a goal kick. And then the centre-backs would split. The goalie would go to someone like Van Dijk, the team would try and press. Van Dijk's so good in the ball, he'd find Alexander-Arnold in space over in this position here. And because Alexander-Arnold's in this position here, it means that Salah is not, he's here. But because the press isn't working and because teams are targeting this side, they're trying to keep Alexander-Arnold deeper this season. He's playing as more of almost a pivot player. You'll see him often in these positions centrally. He's helping build the play a lot, which leaves this space free in this position. So sometimes Henderson will come over to try and deal with it here. But because of this, it means that there's a big space wide in this position here. So this is the space that is now free because he's not here. And so Salah naturally should fill that to support the team. And that means you've got a striker who can make the run in behind if the team pushes up. So you'll see like this. And that's where Nunez should be able to come in and make a difference. So you can put the ball over the top with Alexander-Arnold from deep. But Salah's receiving the ball here, and we know he is because the data shows that he is receiving the ball more in this sort of position. So every single piece of this changed plan, the injuries, the new personnel, the lack of cohesion, the way they build up, the way they press, all having an effect on where Salah's receiving the ball. But then when he is receiving the ball, he's just not playing as well. He's not dribbling as much, he's not taking as many shots, he's not involved, he's having fewer touches. Everything's just off with Liverpool, which means everything is off with Salah. So yes, the two are intrinsically linked, but I bet if he started scoring over his XG again, they'd be much better off and then everyone would improve. Such are the joys of football, and that is why Mohamed Salah is struggling this season for Liverpool.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.